This video is about phoniness. That's what I would like to uncover. Usually when people have plastic flowers out somewhere or something, there's usually a reason for it. And I have to speak to my own heart here too, because when I grew up, we had all our plants in our house were plastic as well as the fruit, and we had to clean it, and it didn't make sense. We didn't have leather, we had vinyl. We didn't have fur, we had some other kind of crazy thing. You know, everything in my culture, everything around me was phony. And so I lean the other direction and I try to choose things that are authentic. I'll go to someone's house, say, and they say they've got the most beautiful plants in all the world. All nice, you know, cultivated, beautiful, healthy, hosta, everything. But as soon as you walk in, you'll see a plastic plant, just the gaudiest thing ever, plastic flowers. Like, what on earth? Why is that there? And, you know, on one occasion, I bought this woman a real flower arrangement to put in it, just as a gift, and kind of a way to, you know, I was trying to help them, you know, like when you're trying to help someone else be healthy, whether they want to be healthy or not, I was trying to do for them what I was trying to do for myself. It was the way I was loving them. This was an older couple, and sure enough, you know, there's a big phoniness in the family. Oh, hi, how are you? Come on in and talk to me for hours while all I can think of is when it is you're going to leave, with a phony smile on my face. And me being naive sometimes would fall into that. And the Bible's real clear about, you know, don't stay too long in your neighbor's house because he's going to hate you. You know, you learn to know when to split. I've never really been good at that, partly, one, because I'm naive, two, been naive, two, is because I have so much to talk about, three, I'm not perfect, I'm in the works, I've got a long way to go, and four, partly because I'm also sometimes bold, and I'm saying, well, okay, well, if you're inviting me in, let's do it up, and we'll go out on the boat and have steaks, like you said. And what they're doing is they're putting forth so much energy into being phony that they can't stand it. But it's not just you that they do it to. And it's almost like the plastic flower, as you enter the door, is somehow like it's an unconscious disclaimer, and the word unconscious doesn't belong. It's a disclaimer of the heart. It means you're going to meet some phoniness. It's a outer manifestation of inner deception. I wish I didn't have to yell for these videos like this. Maybe I don't. But say, now I'm speaking to my own heart too. You know, when you come into my office, years ago, you know, I'd have a Tahitian bridal veil, and I had like years of like lustrous, real plants, and I've had to get rid of them, you know. It was like an indoor garden, you know, right there in my office. I loved it. And so, you know, I got rid of my plants. It's not practical to haul them around doing what I do. But I had a decorative weed I went to Michael's to get one time. It was for my mom's funeral, to make something creative that was kind of sentimental and nice, to present to people about her, you know, at her what do you call that, memorial. And even my brother liked it. He said, that's cool, the thing's cool. And I saved it, and I used to put it like in a little wicker, it was a little, it's like a milk jug that had rope glued around it, next to my bedstand. And it was nice to meditate with, and it became sentimental to me, not because it was at my mom's memorial and that's where it came from, but for other reasons. So I kept it around, even though I told myself that, well, I can't preach against plastic flowers and keep this thing too. It's just wrong. And I was fighting with it. And I drew pictures of it too, so I'm hanging on to it when I shouldn't. So I got it out. My last office, the first thing you see when you come in is my desk. And so I wanted to kind of hide my work a little bit, hide what I'm doing, and have something there to greet the people that come in. So the first thing they see is the greeting, and that's the standing weed, but completely plastic. And it looked really nice, but it was hauntingly plastic. I couldn't stand it. And I would tell myself, I've got to get rid of that thing. And I think I threw it out once, and I fished it back out of the garbage and bent it back into a straight shape and stuck it down in there again. And I had in mind some cattails and stuff, some dry weeds that I would run by. I'm like, I got to get this stuff. Why don't I just do it? And then one day I did, and put them in there, threw the plastic away. It made all the difference in the world. It was like I could relax. It was like, I don't have anything to hide anymore. There's no phoniness. And then I noticed, you go to churches, say, and they've got plastic flowers just outside the door. You're going to meet phoniness when you go in that church, in their doctrine, in their behavior. You go into the New Age churches where you see windows that go to nowhere, but maybe there's a light behind it. Those are outer manifestations of like inner deception. It's kind of like a disclaimer. They're saying, well, we told you were going to find deception, and maybe they don't really consciously know that they're doing it. So me, I go the other way. When I buy blankets, I'll buy wool. Got a couple wool blankets, and they do the job. My tailie is wool, and it's warm. My sport coat, I have a sport coat that is wool, and wool just hangs better on your body than all this other polyester stuff. I have another sport coat, black, I bought at Walmart, and I bought it too long. It's better to go too long than too short, so you can, hem it. But it's some kind of polyester thing, and the pockets go to nowhere. They're just pretend pockets. So it's not a real coat, and I don't like wearing it. But the wool, it was a free suit. I've got both pieces to it. It's way too big, and what I did with the pants was I split the belt line and then hemmed it together by hand with needle and thread, so it looks like a suit from the Talking Heads when I wear it. But just the way the wool moves on my body, it's just it's a more natural garment. I tend not to eat out of plastic. Yesterday I was in a coffee shop. There was only one in there. A suit, coat, and tie on. And the young lady gave me a paper cup with plastic lid and stuff on it. It was just, it didn't fit my setting, I've got a leather bound planner. It just didn't fit. And I went and asked her if I could have a real cup. She said, oh yeah, why didn't I give you a real cup? And gave me a nice big real cup and filled it up. And it made all the difference in the world. It was like, wow, now people's hubcaps, they're plastic, but they're supposed to look like metal. It's I noticed that I had some family members that belonged to a particular type of church, and there was phoniness in that church, and there was anger issues with the kids of the parents that were in these churches, real bad. And the reason why is because there was hypocrisy there. So they're preaching one thing and they're saying another. They have a contradiction going on, and kids they have to be disciplined by this hypocrisy, and they get, they don't praise Elohim if they don't go to prison, I mean, that kind of anger. And here's an example. My bank one time, I'm not finished with this complaint. They offer overdraft protection privileges to people that are in a jam. That's how banks make money, when people are hard up in a jam, and then they oppress you because of it. And that's how they make their money. They know you'll borrow more when you're sick and when you're in trouble. That's their claim to fame. So they merged with another bank, changed some of their policies, and then all of a sudden they denied everybody they changed their, the way they did things, so they were penalizing people for being late on their payments because their new policy was disorganized, and they never told anybody. And the reason why they didn't tell anybody is because somewhere, when we signed on with this bank a long time ago, there was a disclaimer in there that said we can make changes, we don't have to tell anybody, and you're going to have to just find out the hard way. And it's horrible, because doing business with a financial institution like this, it should be a mutual exchange. There should be some respect there. And they're doing this to old people, people that are on disability. And they said, believe me, you're not the only one that's gone through this. Nobody should have to go through it. And so I made a complaint against them, and I got my benefits reinstated, an apology, but it's not over, it's not done. And I'm looking forward to the day that I don't have to do business with them anymore. Where, what you need to do is, you need to ask them, say, okay, say your son, your teenage son, he has privileges that you give him for his good behavior. He has a 10 o'clock curfew, but he can use the car if he keeps it clean and he remembers to put gas in it. And so faithfully, he's home every weekend at 10 o'clock on Saturdays, and whenever he goes out, Fridays and Saturdays. And then one day, maybe he comes home at 9 p.m., even an early night, and then you penalize him and you ground him and you take away the keys. He says, "Dad, what? He says, "It's my car. It's my house. You don't like it? Too bad. Get a bike." So you have to ask them, would you do that to your kids? Would you do that? Then why is it only in a financial institution that kind of practice is acceptable? But what you meet then is a curtains of presidents. So no one can be held accountable, but they need to be held accountable. That's fraudulent. And people are suffering because of it. They're suffering in the beginning that they even need to borrow the money, and then they're suffering again, being penalized on top of it. It's cruel. It's pars with a word I'd like to... Inhumane. It pars with inhumane, okay? But that's a kind of phoniness that needs to be contested. That's the kind of phoniness that I really, really don't like. But, so, well, what kind of flowers do you find when you walk into a financial institution, if any? They're probably not real ones. and the smiles on the faces, it's phony business. Those aren't smiles. That's something else. Anyway, I don't want to get carried away with that, but I thought that was that's something that keep that in mind. when you see that, it doesn't mean turn and run, because people that have come from families like mine that were very phony, it'll take a lifetime to gradually shed off all that old stuff. You know, don't kick yourself if you're trying to do something like that yourself. You know, give yourself some, be merciful and give yourself some graces, and it'll go easier that way. It's Shabbat. A week has already gone by. Shabbat's coming up very fast. 1 hour. I've got some spaghetti and meatballs ready to go. That'll feed me for a couple days. And I don't have a salad dressing. I've got some kale that's really inexpensive and really, really green and really, really good for you. And I don't have any salad dressing, but I can make some. I've got some cooking oil, some vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and some sugar. Maybe add a little salt and make it taste right. There we go. So, be blessed, be inspired, learn, grow mighty. In Yeshua's name, amen.